Boom.
Yeah, what's up with y'all? We are at Against the Narrative again. I have my brother with me, Antonio, Tony, aka Mr. Get 'em in shape, aka Mr. Get 'em right. You know what I'm saying? He wanted
Coach
to have a
Stone.
coach Tone Fitness. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Know it. Know it. Know
And
it.
and I just wanted to have him come on and we talk today and we rap. You know what I'm saying? It's still a Player Circles episode. The topic today is, let me make sure I word it right. I got it in the thing. You know what you need to do is what we're talking about today. And then I think the
You
key,
always do.
here is realizing that we know exactly what you need to do in life, and whether or not you do it or not, it's up to you. And we're gonna kind of get into that and the different layers of that and what that looks like. And we just want to bring y'all along for the ride. So I'm gonna let him come in and kind of introduce himself and what all he does and what got this topic on his mind this week.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Coach Tone, CEO of the Tone Fitness. Tone stands for Total Ownership of Nutrition and Exercise. I'm a holistic health and performance coach, more so on the holistic side because I feel like in today's society, the fitness realm is overly saturated with shit that just doesn't matter, right? The aesthetics, the sexualization of an aesthetically pleasing body and things like that, but nobody's really taking the time to convey how important it is to take control of your health internally, right? This goes down to mindset, how healthy your mind is, how are you regulating your nervous system in a day and age where your attention is the currency. So if you don't have control over your nutrition, your exercise, and your overall internal being, trust and believe that you are being controlled. You are a sheep. You are part of the cattle. And what kind of got this topic on my mind today is like, I went through a personal revelation over the past couple of weeks in lieu of me rebranding my fitness business. With a entrepreneurial journey, it is so spiritual, right? But nobody talks about how deep this goes, right? We always know what we need to do, and for the longest time I knew exactly what I needed to do, um but never really had the confidence, the words, the step-by-step actions to be able to do it. um so I had to tap in with my bro and saying, just let him know some things that just kind of revolutionized my passion, not only for fitness but to be able to explain that, put that into words with everybody that I come to contact with.
Definitely. And so when I look at this, a lot of times the question is really what's hindering me from doing what I need to do. Um, a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize that it's usually you. A lot of times people like to pick external things that are, oh, this environment, oh, this person, oh, these people, oh, it's this job. And it's like all of these things are things that you have the power to change. And like finding that
Yes.
space and that courage to make those changes in a way that's beneficial to self is something that a lot of people have a hard time making the decision to do. And for me,
Right.
like you said, the entrepreneurial route or even just the life route itself is a lot more spiritual than people give it credit for. There's an aspect of the self that needs to be revealed to you before you can reveal yourself to someone else. And so a lot of
Yeah.
times you're hindering yourself just because you're not allowing you to be yourself for whatever reason that may be, you know?
Right. And I say a lot of times, like, people will blame the external environment because they have identified with that external environment, right? They say like, oh, when you ask somebody what do they do, the first thing, I mean, like who they are, when you ask somebody, who are you? You know, the first thing they tell you is what kind of job they do, where they were raised at, where they were, born at, what kind of, um what kind of car they drive, you know what I'm saying, their interests and things like that. But that doesn't answer the question, who are you? Are you a visionary? Are you an empath? Are you empathetic? Are you compassionate? You know what I'm saying? What are your passions? A lot of times your passions tells a lot about you as well. You know what I'm saying? Not exactly what you do, You know what I'm saying? From the external definition, you know what I'm saying? It's easy for me to say like, okay, I'm a gym rat and I love to work out and things like that, but that's just not who I am. I'm passionate about fitness because I know what fitness has done for me. I know what fitness can do for a lot of people from an internal perspective, right? Yeah, it's okay to have like the huge quads, the big butt, the big biceps and everything like that, but we're talking about nervous system control when you're able to put 455 pounds on your back and execute a biomechanically correct squat. You
And
know, that's just not brute strength, right?
not at all.
It's control. And a lot of people do not have that control over their body,
Facts.
you know? So in formulating what is your identity, you know what I'm saying? How do you identify yourself? People will use external factors that can change or should have changed or, you know, well, should change, honestly, throughout lifetime. But a lot of times people don't even change their external, you know what I'm saying? So they take upon that's what they take upon their identity. So,
So the revelation I had about it was you can be overly attached to your egoic self. And
yeah,
my way of kind of escaping that is telling people you have to find ways to create self-righteous goals and self-righteous identity. Like,
yeah,
once I realized that everything that I do in life at some level is of service to the greater whole of things, I stopped identifying as Demonte that's a software engineer, or Demonte that likes to dance, because those egos or those identities limit the entirety of who I am. Like, a lot of
right,
times when people ask me who I am, I say I'm a traveling scholar, because it gives me a lot of room to be what I need to be. Because
right,
at the root, I feel like our only goal in life is to study ourselves in our environment in a way that allows us to, like you said, almost relax our nervous system into this experience in a way that's therapeutic
mhm,
instead of scary. You know what I'm
right,
saying? And like you said, with the working
right,
out, one thing that I've realized with working out is like, in order for me to live correctly, I have to be thinking about it in the right state of mind. I have to be in the right
yes,
state to properly move my body in the way I need to execute these workouts. That's why
yes,
yoga is so therapeutic. A lot of people don't realize there's a very fine line between yoga and actually working out, because it's the same state of mind. I learned this doing
yes,
kung fu. When you get into tai chi and you understand that the real goal of tai chi the goal of the forms is to allow your mind to focus in a way that relaxes the nervous system.
yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying? And so once you get
yes,
into that aspect of working out, it's like when I go to the gym, I go to the gym knowing that I have energy that I need to settle into. So me walking a certain way, me running a certain way, me lifting a certain way allows my body to know that it's safe.
yes. And that is so key. That is so key. I've I've done personal training in so many aspects over 12 years, and it's a funny question I ask a client. I say, "How do you deal with stress?" And they say, "Oh, I'm not stressed. You know, I have a nice car, I have a great family, I make great money, this, that, and the third." But as soon as I see them do like a row, the shoulder comes up. I said, "That's the stress." So you don't deal with the stress because it's showing up in your body. You
Facts.
know, we consciously tell ourselves, "Oh, you know, I'm not dealing with stress," because we made stress a norm.
Facts.
We made consistent stress a norm. Oh, I'm just hustling. Oh, I'm just doing my job. Oh, I'm doing what I got to do. No, the body will always reveal what is going on internally. It will
Facts.
always reveal what's going on internally. And you know, even when I'm taking them through the exercises and things like that, like they say, "Oh, such and such, this hurt and this hurt, this hurt," and I said, "Well, you're rushing through the workout. That's working out. We don't work out. We train. When we're training, we're not only training the body, but we're training the mind and the body, the connection between the two,
It's facts.
right? You have to have some level of comfort, right, or relaxation, um, rather. when you're doing it. No matter if I'm pressing, 10 pounds to 150 pounds, I need to have some level of relaxation to be able to connect mind to body and say, I'm gonna do this correctly. You know, I'm gonna train the muscle in the way it should go.
And I'm gonna lift the weight that I need to lift because I'm not trying to be the strongest person in the gym. I'm trying to lift in a way that actually is beneficial to my body.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so one thing I realized is when I got into meditation, something came to me. It said you have to have divine mannerisms.
Mm.
There's a certain way the body moves that alleviates stress. A certain way you walk, a
Hmm.
certain way you talk. And when you start watching certain people, you can tell just by their mannerisms alone that they're stressed. Like you said, how do they live? How do they walk? How do they talk? How do they move through a room? Do things being in their way frustrate them because they're not paying attention, because they're anxious? How do
Hmm.
they operate in physical reality? You can tell a lot
Hmm.
about a person just by the way that they move and the way that they speak.
Hmm. Especially like responses.
For sure.
Responses. That was a big realization that I had when I moved from Georgia up to Philadelphia area. Is everybody here, they normalize being stressed and going nowhere fast. So as soon as you tell somebody good morning, is it a good morning? Like, yeah, it
If you want it
is.
to be.
It is. It actually is. Are you having a good morning?
Well, the problem
You know.
is a lot of people have a lot of factors that determine what is and isn't good.
Yeah.
And that goes into another topic that we had, the different levels of shadow work. You know what I'm saying? Have you really accepted the range that there is in this life? Like a lot of people only like a small spectrum of everything that's going on. Like I'm cool
Yes.
if we right here, but if we step a little bit over here, it's over with.
Ah. Panicking.
Now I'm fucked up.
Pan- Panicking. Let me. It's funny that we said that because about the aspects of good and evil, the aspects of good and bad. I have been reading this book, The Circle of Fire, the past week. Just reading a lot of meditations on it. Yeah, I mean it's a meditation book or whatever, and I've just been reading on it. But let me see if I can find. But one part of it is it says everything we believe about ourselves is a story we create that is based in reality, but it's just our point of view. Our point of view is based on our experiences and on what we know and what we believe. He also says nothing is good and bad, but truth and lies. And when we believe in the lies, we take those perceptions and say, okay, this is good and this is bad. And so when I'm looking, from a shadow work perspective, when I read that, it was kind of revealing to me a lot of the ideals that I had. I didn't choose those.
Facts.
Those was placed upon me. Prime example is a reel I was looking at yesterday. Man was standing in the elevator and there was four helmets, and he was going to the 10th floor. The elevator stopped at the first floor. One man walked in, he put a helmet on. Second person walked in on from the third floor. She walked in, she put a helmet on. Went up to the fifth floor. That guy came in, he put a helmet on. There's three helmets left. The guy that was originally walked in with no helmet, he's looking. When the fourth person walked in, they put on the helmet. He put on a helmet. But the last person walked in on the ninth floor, didn't put on a helmet, but there was one helmet left. But they didn't put on a helmet. And when they got to the 10th floor, the one that did not have a helmet was the only one that wasn't looking stupid with a helmet on.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there pretty much shows us how our external environment shapes and molds us. You know what I'm saying? Subconsciously, we think we have to go with the flow.
Groupthink
And
is a thing.
so,
Hive mind.
yeah. So when we boil it down to like, like when you know what you need to do, you probably do know what you need to do. You always do, but you allowing this external, and it does goes back to like your level of perception, you know what I'm saying, and the amount of depth that you have within your inner being to be able to trust yourself to know what you need to do.
my
and move in that accordance.
my biggest thing was that's why I love the quote: "A wise man knows nothing." Not because I'm ignorant,
Mhm.
because I realized as soon as I attach myself to knowing a thing, I've limited myself.
Mhm. Yes.
And so that's one thing, like you said, when we talk about responses, like when someone says, "Oh, I know this," you got it. Because you've convinced yourself that that is the only reality. And now you're stuck
Yes.
there. You can't move any
Yes.
further until you decide to let that go.
Yes.
And so what I've
Yes.
realized is this life is about being able to pick up knowledge, see what it's used for, put it in your pocket and hold it for a moment when it's useful. But if you hold on to that pack of knowledge, you don't have space to pick up anything else that you may need along the way. And
Right.
so that's one thing that we talk about, like we're going back to this idea of the levels of shadow work. It's just like, as I begin to understand myself, I need to know all of myself. If I know myself as just this one part in this one moment, oh, I do this one thing, and now I've attached everything to that. Like even like the idea of being Greek. Some people get extremely attached to all of the stereotypes of being Greek. Now you at the party, like for instance, I'm the bro. Like I ain't got no, I had all my wild days, shawty. But it was after the first couple years, I'm like, I'm not finna be at the party trying to pick nobody up, man. Act like I'm eating no coochie. Like I'm just not. It's not really where I'm at as a person, as an adult. You feel what I'm saying? It was cool, but you realize that a lot of people get into organizations and then they blame the organization for their actions because they were following groupthink. And then these are the people that want
Right.
to denounce their letters and blame the organization for being evil when you just lack self control and self identity.
Yes.
You feel what I'm
Self
saying?
identity is a real big one.
And it's even the same.
Real.
You see it in the church as
Real
well.
big.
The people that go to certain
Yep.
churches and that now their idea of what worship looks like and their idea of what Christianity looks like is based off of the congregation that they're a part of.
Right.
Most of them haven't even read the book for themselves
Or let alone open their mind to be able to comprehend the different meanings of the book and the passages within it.
because they only believe what they're taught. They only understand the pastor's perspective of the book.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And they, yeah.
And so that's why I get into like I'm real big on studying this stuff. Like there's a big importance. I don't care how you study yourself. So let's get into occultism a little bit. So I believe that what's taught in hermetics is that the body is hermetically sealed. What it means to be hermetically sealed is that it's something that has 7 locks on it. Just to keep it short of what all this means. And so to
Hmm.
me that means that I need to understand myself in 7 different ways to unlock what really is inside of my body. I take this concept with everything. I need to understand something with 7 different sciences, whether it's astrology, whether it's biology, whether it's chemistry, whether it's engineering, whether it's fitness. I need to understand myself in enough ways to where I truly know the scope of what I am.
Right.
And so when you get into like natal chart readings and astrology, you realize that okay, some people might know their big three, but if you look at all of the planets on your chart, they reveal a different level of the subconscious self at every level. Now you can say, "Oh, this is woo
Yeah.
woo." Okay, well let's take another way. Go see a psychiatrist. What are they going to tell you?
Mhm.
They're going to tell you the stages at which your mind works and how your mind
Yes.
processes information and at what
Yes.
levels are you detaching from the natural order of your thought processes?
Yes.
What's considered
Yes.
normal? You
Yes.
feel what I'm saying? And so
And-
once you begin to look at these different ranges, you realize that in order for me to reveal truth at any level, I need to understand myself deeply.
yes. And I tell you, like, coming from, and you can probably attest to this, being coming from a Southern Black household, there was no such thing as, you didn't have the space in the room to be able to learn yourself.
For sure.
Right. There were certain parameters that your parents put in place because they, from what they knew, this is the right direction, this is the direction in which I want my child to go, and the child should never depart. I heard that so many times in church. And it was wild to me because I'm like, and I used to think as a kid, it's like, as an individual, shouldn't I get to learn who I am? And should not be able to have the space to be able to learn who I am. I mean, even in today's society, as a Black man, you don't have the space really, unless you make it, to be able to learn yourself well. And I'm talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, the sad, the whole nine. right? Um, a huge revelation I had was when I um did my astrology chart, and growing up, astrology was demonic. It was it was frowned upon. It was like, oh, that's witchcraft. We don't do that. They can't. When I did my birth chart and I got that thing interpreted, it read me for filth. It had me feeling exposed, like I was naked in front of like 1,000 people. It was like, what? This is weird. This is wild. But I began to accept, okay, I have somewhat of a basis to kind of dial back and look and observe. Step outside of the mind, step outside of the self and observe.
I think that's the key thing. Once
And
you allow,
that's when
go ahead.
things started revealing itself. It started revealing itself bit by bit. I'm like, wow, like it's right here in front of my face.
Yep.
But you got to be able to have the eye to see it.
Facts.
You got to have the eye to see it. But nobody wants to have that eye. Everybody's so distracted, you
Yep.
know?
I always say it's important to live life as the observer, because not living the life as the observer is why people believe that obesity runs in their family.
Okay? It's because nobody running their family.
Nobody's looking at what everybody's eating. Nobody's observing what's going on in the moment. We've allowed ourselves. This is like we get into the general curse, the generational curse thing. Is we've allowed ourselves to be subject to a pattern that hasn't healed anybody. We see the same thing in
Right.
America right now. Okay, we can say that America doesn't serve the black community well. Okay, then why are we upset about them removing policies like the DEI and different things that were never getting us further? These things were literally programmed and created to limit our growth. Yet we're upset that they're being removed. I believe that I was talking to my LB about this other day. Let me slow down a bit. The dysfunction that we're seeing in the American system is giving us an opportunity to see that it never served us in the first place. And if we can look,
And
go ahead.
I was going to say the with the legislation that was passed, cutting Medicaid and Social Security and food stamps. I grew up in like low income where everybody was on food stamps. Excuse me, everybody was on food stamps. We had cookouts. People would go in with their food stamps and buy a shit ton of food. We would commune over the. I mean, we would commune utilizing these services. But I used to say as a kid, like, I mean, I remember 5 years old, I said, why we're not rich?
Because being
And my
rich
mama
gets you out the
said,
system.
because if we were rich, we wouldn't have to worry about no food stamps. As a teenager, I wanted to go to the doctor. My mom said, I don't know if we got Medicaid on you still. We need to be rich. Because I'm pretty positive they don't worry about, Medicaid. Like if the Medicaid card gonna go through when they go to the doctor. But nobody ever had an answer for me. And it was like, okay, well, we just weren't born like that. And I can only imagine how many kids, grew up with that mindset that, oh, this is all that it will ever be.
It's all I can
This
ever
is the end
have.
all be all.
You feel what I'm
Because that's
saying?
all you ever had. But like now as an adult, you know what I'm saying, and having been blessed with the opportunity to see, different walks of life and, been to different places all over the world, is really the limited mindset. And that's exactly what these, what I'm saying, these programs have done. It put us in a box, and then we glorified the box, and then you take the box, and now we mad. Now people that nigga bad because you took the box, but bitch, it was a box.
Yep. And it was a
It's a
horrible
box,
box. Bro,
but you decorated that box.
when COVID happened, bro, I asked niggas, I'm like, what world is y'all trying to get back to? I thought we wasn't happy. I thought shit
Yes, it
was fucked
wasn't.
up. I thought shit been fucked up. I didn't know we was thriving. I didn't know that
Right,
the old world was great.
I did.
But fear attaches you to things being and staying the way that they are. Fear is the
Yeah.
fear is the enemy of growth.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? Fear is the mind
and it
killer.
takes many forms.
For
It
sure.
takes many forms. Yeah.
You gotta know fear, and you have to be acquainted with fear, because if you're not acquainted with fear, you'll never be able to overcome it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You'll never have the opportunity to see it as something that you could speak with, something you could work with,
Right.
something you could understand
Right.
about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Being able to take that dive. Yeah.
one thing that really got me going was realizing that I'm big on understanding. I got into understanding what was Solomon's wisdom. Solomon was the man that conquered all demons. What did he know? He knew that in order for me to defeat the things that are hindering me and my people, I have to face them. I can't run
Yes.
away. I have to be strong.
Yes.
That's wisdom.
Yes.
Wisdom comes
Yes.
from you being willing to face the things that you know you have to face.
Yes.
So that goes back into the topic. You know what you need to do. You need to face the things that are hindering you. But either it's
Right.
fear or just lack of even believing that you have those things as a part of self that keeps you from doing it.
Right. And we talked about this too, like the comfort, the convenience, and the comfort that has been placed on us, or we have been like, well, I say the latter generation up under us have been born into. Um, that convenience, you know what I'm saying? Having information right here, everything is right at your fingertips. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't have to get up and go and get it anymore. You know what I'm saying? They want it right there. Instacart. You ain't gotta go to grocery shopping. Instacart. You ain't gotta go. You ain't gotta walk down the road. You know what I'm saying? To go get your church chicken. DoorDash. You ain't gotta go to 5 different WalMarts to see if they got something in stock. Amazon.
They're enabling the bullshit. They're creating
You know what I'm
software
saying?
for it.
You ain't gotta sit here and sweet talk Shawty on the corner. OnlyFans.
You feel me?
$3.99. You saw what you needed to see.
I think that's the thing that
The
we're
convenience and the comfort got people so complacent that they feel that they don't even need to take those deep dives. They don't need to do that inner work to take those, because everything, again, the external validation, and the external validation one, and immediate gratification
well, you don't value
got them
something you
like
didn't work for.
hooked, 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 like a fish.
You keep looking for quick fixes. People are drug addicts for dopamine. I think that's a conversation that we don't have often enough. Is that
Oh my God.
but when we got into this whole no child left behind mindset where everybody gets a trophy and everybody is doing good and everybody's body positive, we can't even tell you the real no more. I can't even
Right.
express that shit needs to change, because at that point now I'm negative. I'm low vibrational.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
That's a big one right there. Because I said you got to call a thing before you can make it change. Now
You got to. You got to be accountable. You got the first step of change is awareness. You have to know
is
that it's
awareness.
there. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying? And
And
then
you
you
got
have
to
to be
know, like,
accountable.
yeah, yeah.
Like
It's so funny to me.
one of the biggest things that it was for me is like, bro, when I stopped having a car for I had a phase where I didn't have a car for a little while. And I've had a car since I was 16 years old. I've never not been able to get in the car and go where I needed to go. And you know what really got me to walk into the store and walk into the gym? It's just like, bro, if you were a human without all of these luxuries, because we're domesticated as human beings. A lot of people don't want to have this conversation, but we're domesticated as human
Yes,
beings.
sir.
If you had nigga, if you can't walk to the store to get your food, what if you had to hunt for something? If you had to really go get it, my nigga, could you? Would you even know what
Could
it looked
you?
like?
Could you?
And so when I adopted that mindset, it was like, bro, a mile for food is nothing. 2 miles for food is
Nothing.
nothing. We used to have to walk fields for days for a berry or two and hope we found something. You're
Right.
not
Right.
hungry, you spoiled. You're not
And you bored.
tired, you're spoiled. We haven't
Yeah.
trained ourselves to really live what life could be like. I think like a lot of people are like, oh, life sucks. I'm like, bro, you live in the most abundant time ever in human history. There is not nothing, knowledge, nothing that you can't go get from somewhere close. You could
You
order it
ain't
to
got to
your
leave your house
house.
too tough to get it. You ain't got to leave your house too tough to go get it.
But you say it's hard? You ain't putting in no work.
None.
You ain't lifted a rock. You ain't moved shit. You ain't cut a tree. You ain't planted nothing. You ain't even got to defend your household no more. You can call the police and they gonna do it for you.
Barely, but
But they there. It's an option. You feel what I'm saying? Now, granted, we understand the whole conversation of police, whatever. That was just a reference. But at the end of the day, there's nothing you can't go get access to with or without a phone. You muted yourself. I don't know if you see that. There you go. I just wanted to make
all right.
sure. But yeah, so it's just that aspect of really realizing that it's like I ask myself and I ask a lot of people, I'm like, you realize life is good, right? If you can breathe, got a couple pair of clothes, somewhere to sleep, something to eat in the house, you all right. Because there was a time in
It's all
human
about
history
perspective.
where you didn't have
It's all
shit.
about perspective.
It wasn't no running water. It wasn't no electricity. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
gratitude comes in for real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I ask myself a lot of time, I be like, well, I'm not where I want to be. Are you not? Are you not the person that 15-year-old you wanted? And if not, why?
Yeah. Right, bro. I remember when, and we talked about this earlier, you know what I'm saying? Like when we were in college and we talked about how much money we were going to be making and what we were going to be doing and stuff like that. We here. We're definitely here. You know what I'm saying? And it definitely came to fruition. It
Every
just
bit of
wasn't
it.
what we thought. We just not where we thought it would be, right? Because our level of perception was skewed by what we were exposed to at that time. And it took I was just talking to my, an older frat brother of mine, just an hour ago, but he said you had to have, you have to trust the process. People don't think when they say, "Oh, you gotta trust the process," they think that you got to do step one, two, three, four, five, six. No, you got to do one. You got to do one A. You got to do one B. You got to do one C. You failed at one C. You went back to one A. Okay. You got one B, one C, you jump to five. Okay, 5A. You jump to seven. Oh, you didn't treat seven right, you went back down to one. You know what I'm saying? And you got to see how you're setting those steps up and learn those lessons so that you can, you have something to stand on, right? So you have something to stand on. The foundations nowadays is obsolete. Everything is handed.
Facts.
Everything is given.
Paper thin.
Nothing is earned. And honestly, I used to look at my foundation, my foundational times, being raised. My dad, 9 years old, come out here and help me fix this car. You know what I'm saying? Come help me paint this. Come help me do this electric work. Come help me change this tire, change these spark plugs, paint this wall. You know what I'm saying?
Needed.
I hated that shit.
But it was needed.
Now look at me. Now look at me.
You value it more now.
Tire goes flat. I'm like, let me get on out here, change this damn tire.
Let me get this plug.
Let me go ahead and do this spark plug real quick. I know what needs to be done, so I ain't finna go to the damn dealership and they tell me X, Y, and Z need to be changed. No, I know that only needs to be changed twice out of the whole life of the car. You're not finna get me. Everybody wants to skip to the luxury shit.
And
And not to say anything is wrong with it, you know what I'm saying? But the foundation of life, when everything is all said and done, then shit goes disarray. Like I mean, like a lot of times in history it has. When things go disarray, you know what I'm saying. What do you have? What do you have to fall back on? What is those basic skills that you can fall back on?
and I think one thing that I've realized, like you said, with the 1A to 1-2, is like I've realized that God has a crazy sense of humor.
Yeah,
And you're not
yeah,
smarter than God. Whatever you believe God to
at
be,
all.
you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when I started evaluating that, I started looking at things from this way. So for me, in my perspective, this is kind of how life works. you you go through life, you have an experience. That experience is a test for your understanding of who you are supposed to be playing. Like we said earlier, you're kind of playing a role in this whole thing. Like
Hmm.
you have to play your role correctly in order to move forward. And so
Right.
the tests that we receive in life are asking us, hey, were you paying attention in this moment? Do you value this lesson that we gave you for free when we come in here to give you a test for? Like you said, if your dad teach you how to change a tire and your tire go flat and you still call AAA, you fail.
Right.
Because you had the knowledge to not need help in that moment and you doubted
Right.
yourself. So
Yes.
now, the next time you call AAA, it's going to take them 3 hours. You going to wait 3 hours for them to come change your tire when it's a spare and a jack in the back? And you got somewhere to be in
Okay.
an hour. You
Okay.
could have that tire changed in 20 minutes, but you waited for AAA and you missed out on your money.
Right.
These are the kind of moments that make a difference in life. Not because,
Hmm.
oh, I failed, now I'm a failure. No, because it's not that deep. But you will repeat these lessons and you will keep blocking your blessings because you're not stepping into the power that you were already given.
Oh yeah. That's heavy.
You feel what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
when I
Yeah.
started realizing that there were moments that I could have been great, that I made myself small to make other people feel better, I was so
Yes.
upset.
Yes, sir.
That's what
And oof.
meditation fucked me up. When I got to sitting with
Yes.
myself and thinking of those times where it's like, oh, I'm mad about this. I should have this or that. And then spirit would pop in my head, hey, you remember this? You was right there. That shit you talking about you wanted,
But you didn't do it.
you didn't do it. Like,
It was right there.
I forgot what the metaphor is where it was like there was a man that's sinking and he had prayed to God for a boat, or favorite God to save him. And a man came by on the boat. He said, no, I'm waiting on God. Another man came by. No, I'm waiting on God. Another man came by on the boat. No, I'm waiting on God. God said, nigga, I sent you 3 boats. What you doing?
Yes.
It's not gonna be
Or
some magical this or that. You gotta play the game. You gotta walk through the stages. You gotta do the
yes.
hard things. You gotta make the hard choices in order to win that what's going on. In order for you to get where you need to go, you gotta do the things that you thought you might not need to do sometimes.
Right. You got to do 1A before you do 1B.
And you have the
You
knowledge
got
to
to
do it.
do. You got the tools to do it.
And see, a lot of people don't
But do
realize
you
that
trust yourself enough to do it?
if you do 1A and then you go try to do 1C without the knowledge of 1B, that's what fucked you up.
And then you mad because you back at 1A.
Because you didn't even get the 1B, or you got the 1B and you didn't learn that lesson. You said, oh, that one, that nigga wasn't talking about shit. That old head that stopped me to give me that advice that one time, he wasn't talking about shit. My grandmama, when she told me to do that and she gave me that quote that I ain't never pay attention to, she wasn't talking about shit. Me and my pops talk
Hmm.
about this. It was like, bro, he told me, he said, money, you gonna listen to me one day. Cause it took me to be grown to realize that the things that my mother told me, the quotes that she gave me when I was young, as a grown man, I think about the things she told me because she instilled it in me in a way to where when I got to that experience and I realized what she meant by that, I never forget it now. Because you're given, I think that's one thing that we forget. Like I get into soul contracts and understanding that you're born into certain households for certain reasons. Some people have this
Yes,
animosity
sir.
for their family and what they came through and what they went through. And it's like, no, you needed those lessons to be who you are.
Yeah. Yes,
Now,
sir.
whether or not you stay in those
Wholeheartedly.
lessons and stay a victim to those lessons is up to you. But if you allow
Yeah.
yourself to receive that it's possible that everything you went through in life was meant to make you exactly who you needed to be, to show you exactly how not to treat people and your experiences in the problems and the situation that you're going to be in, there's
Yep.
growth in that. There's an aspect of all the pain that I received. I have to choose to either be the oppressed that becomes the oppressor, or
Hmm.
the oppressed that overcame and realized that those people needed help too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a big gap for
Yep.
healing there. This is where like shadow work gets spooky because it's like you have to be able to accept that everything bad that happened to you not only was for a reason, but it was by design.
By design. Yeah. Yeah. And then that's when and that's when um you can start to move in purpose.
For sure.
I had amongst all the revelations that I've had in my life, sitting back and seeing how trauma had moved my parents, and they were victims of their circumstances. That has been a generational thing. You know what I'm saying? And we're talking all the way back. You know what I'm saying? Lineages of victim mentalities, you know what I'm saying? And just being consumed by those circumstances. Where do you put the stop? Where is the stopping point? You know, because I know my mom used to always tell me, like, I know I need to do this and this, and then watch and see that she does not do it.
Facts. That trying mentality has limited our community
I hate a motherfucker that sit
ridiculously.
here and say, "Oh, I'm trying. I'm trying." You're either doing it
Or you're
or you're
not.
not.
Bro, we could have a whole
You're
episode
either
on
doing it or you're not. I
facts.
don't want to hear I'm trying, because trying means I thought about it, but I was too scared, or I didn't want to get uncomfortable for a minute, or I sat here and thought about what everybody else was gonna think about me, and I just shied away and I shrunk myself and I didn't do it. I don't want to hear the shit. I
I'm
mean,
over
even
it.
when it comes down to my clients, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a prime example. And I told myself, I would never, I ain't gonna say the person's name or whatnot, um, but it was over 300 pounds. Over 300 pounds that he knew he needed to get his life together. He just started his career and everything. For his birthday, he had, went out of the country. He had got scammed out of, before he went out of country, he had got scammed out of buying this luxurious shoe, some Dior shoes. And I said to myself, he said, "Well, I'm not tripping over it or whatnot. I'm gonna just, wait to get my money back and, X, Y, and Z." But he ended up spending more money to get those same pair of shoes. Okay. They were Dior's. I don't know what the obsession was because they were ugly shoes, in my opinion. But dude came into the gym and I was speaking life into it, like I do all my clients. I speak life into them. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just the beginning, first month. You know what I'm saying? Like, you seeing progress and you kind of getting the hang of it and stuff like that. And then here comes the second month. Oh my God, I can't afford this. How many times did you buy those Dior shoes just to wear them in a country where nobody knows you, to flex on social media for somebody else? But you have a job where you're taking care of people and you're over 300 pounds. You have shown me where your priorities lie.
Facts.
Do not sit here and feed me no bullshit excuse. I've seen people on their deathbed wishing that they had that opportunity to do it differently. I've seen people take their last breath wishing that they could do it differently. And you spent four times as much as it would have took for you to finish the program just to make one post, to impress somebody else. Don't sit here and tell me that you're trying. Don't feed me the excuses.
That
Because I'm
was
going to call it out. I'm going to call the bullshit a bullshitter.
facts. That was the biggest thing for me, bro. I had to sit down and start asking myself, bro, am I really trying? When I realized that I wasn't trying at life, it was the most heartbreaking and empowering moment of my life.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
sat down and asked myself, bro, you got a software engineering degree, drunk. Really? Drunk. Like, drunk,
Whole
nigga.
time.
Like,
Literally the whole time.
drunk, nigga. Like, I can't bullshit that nigga. I was, bro, from
Oh,
Augusta
I was
State
there.
to Kennesaw, drunk, nigga. And not like I
Yeah.
wasn't like belligerent. I ain't drink at home and shit like that. But nigga, after class, outside on the weekend, nigga, I promoted 4 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then I asked myself, why don't I remember a lot of the stuff that I learned in school? Why am I having to go back and relearn these things that I already accomplished? Because you weren't trying. You weren't serious enough about life. Not because
Yeah.
life is this thing that has to drag you down or be this big burden, but you have to put in genuine effort.
Genuine effort. And honestly, if you even put in what they say, what faith of a mustard seed. If you put a mustard seed of effort, you get a big return.
When I
People
realized,
don't people don't get that.
yeah, when you start looking around, you realize most people aren't trying. Most people aren't putting effort in for the things that they say they want out of life. They aren't taking the
Hmm.
steps. There's actionable steps for everything you want in life. You can go to Chat
Hmm.
GPT right now and it can give you a plan from where you are at to where you want to be. Can you follow it?
Right.
Will you even read it for real?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then I think that was the thing that fucked me up is I started looking at the world and I'm like, bro, we're beyond spoiled.
Beyond, because I'm gonna tell you, people's out here. I know people for that got it out the mud, and when I say got it out the mud, one pair of pants, one shirt, one pair of shoes, walk 5 miles to school to get some education, work for nickels,
And we frown on our
nickels,
ancestors? It's crazy.
nickels.
It's disrespectful,
They
bro.
work for nickels
An hour, nigga, like,
for a nickel.
what are we talking about?
No,
And still
no.
had to come home and work the field to make sure their family had food, work the garden, work the farm.
Okay,
What are we talking about?
and and still deal with the emotional strain of
Of
life.
of running a family. Can you imagine what it was like to be a man in the fucking 30s, nigga? And we complaining about having to clock in to work and pay a bill? Nigga, that nigga had to run the farm, go to the factory, come home. What are we talking about? Now we could argue
What
that
kind of sleep did he get? How did he sleep? He wasn't sleeping on no memory foam mattress pad
he
with
wasn't sleeping in air
AC.
conditioning. What?
With AC. I, you know
Man,
what kills me? You know, it be like what today? Well, yesterday, 90 degrees outside. They talk about, oh my God, it's so hot. It's so hot. I can't do it. The bugs, the humidity.
we come from nature.
90,
Our
90
bodies are,
degrees. 90 degrees here. Go to Georgia.
yeah,
Go
what
to
we
Georgia.
talking about? It's constant, and I think that's something else that fucked me up. It's like, did we forget our bodies were engineered for us to live outside?
Okay?
Like
We're meant
there's
to
a
be outside.
resilience to your physical vessel. Like I'm big on realizing that it's like, bro, this body was meant to do a lot, and we don't do shit with it, but let it fall apart.
Hmm. Feed it sugar, feed it bullshit,
We're
sugar,
mo
liquor.
we're so disrespectful to God's temple. So like that's where I look at it now. We coming up on 7 o'clock. We've been on here for 15 minutes. I want to get a couple talking points in, and we can go ahead and close it out.
Mm.
But the biggest revelation for me when it comes to like self value is realizing you live in God's temple.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Physically,
sir.
spiritually, and mentally, you are in God's temple at every given moment. How
Yes,
do you
sir.
take care of God's temple?
Yes, sir. And I was talking to a client today, my frat brother's his mom. She got diagnosed with Parkinson's. I work with a lot of clients have Parkinson's disease. And it's a neurological disease where people start to have like a decline in motor function. So they lose traction of the jaw, so they drool a lot. Their hands start to shake. It's a little difficult for them to move. Um, when I first started working with Parkinson's patients about 10 years ago, God, I can't believe it's been 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I read a study that said that the decline of a patient who has Parkinson's disease is the mental, the self-efficacy. Can you do? Can you do this? And so I was talking to moms today. I call them moms. So I was talking to moms today and I said, well, I can give you all the exercises and all the nutrition advice in the world. But let me tell you something. Are you a woman of faith? She said, yes, I've been a woman of faith for years. And I said, okay, well then sit up. Put an S on your chest. Okay? Because that ego is not leading anymore. The ego felt lost, felt depressed, felt like this was the end all be all, but your spirit is still living because you woke up this morning. You got a breath in your body. And let me tell you, this excerpt that I read out of um my book this morning was talking about honoring the physical body. This is your fucking vehicle. People treat their cars better than they treat their own body.
Facts.
Soon as the oil light go on, you go get an oil change. You find money to go get that oil change. When the tires are dry rotted and they wearing down, you go get you some new tires. If your car dirty, you'll go wash your car. But nobody's so conscious about the chemicals and shit they put in their body. What the fuck is a soda? A lot of people ain't had water in days, but can tell you all about liquor, juice, and soda.
They ain't even fueling nobody.
You're not fueling the body.
I even
You
looked at
fu-
it.
you
I even looked at it like this, bro. I said, bro, when you really think about eating, eating is probably the most toxic shit for the body.
yeah,
A heavy meal, horrible, horrible. You know what I'm saying? When you like even just like the visualization of food moving through the body, it don't even look right when you really think about it. In
right,
mass, cheese and all that shit, grease and all that shit going through that shit don't like you just logically, bro. It don't make sense.
right. When they talk about soul food, what
But
soul,
and then let
what soul are you feeding?
and then let's look at it a little bit deeper than that. The soul food. What was soul food born from? It was born from
Oh,
us surviving off of scraps. We
yes,
don't have to
sir.
survive off scraps no more.
You got
We psychologically glorify all of our struggles.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every one of them, and we've created attachment to those struggles so that we can't even let them go. Like we
Yeah,
don't realize. A lot of black people don't realize as a community we're psychologically still in the plantation.
yep.
We eat the same food. We pray the same prayers. We do the same workouts. We go to the same places. When are you
Hang
gonna
around
heal
the
from
same
that?
people.
When are we gonna
Hang
heal
around the
from that?
same people.
Facts.
Yep.
When are we gonna allow ourselves to grow outside of that mindset?
Yeah. And stop trying to label it and stop trying to demonize it.
Facts.
Because at the end of the, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, everybody has that voice, the higher version of themselves. They have that voice in the back of their head that's telling them exactly what they need to do, how they need to do it. But they don't want to step outside of that realm because of what everybody else is going to say. And again, I had posed this question on social media. I said, where does your validation lie? Where does the validation of self lie? Because if you don't know yourself, it's not internal, it's
Facts.
external. If you if you are searching for internal validation, then you need to know who you are outside of all of this mix. If everything dissipated, if your hood, you claim that you rep your hood to the fullest, if that hood got washed away and everybody in it, who are you?
Facts. I began to ask myself, what's the value of validation? Can I spend it somewhere?
Right,
Now, it's nice to have a good face card. I ain't gonna lie. It's nice to be able to go where you want to go and people know you and this and that and they know how you act and how you think and how you move. It's cool, but that's false
right.
comfort.
False. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And honestly, I don't even and in the growth process, especially in my entrepreneurial journey, I don't want to be in those places where people are familiar with me.
Mm-mm. Cause I don't. Cause
I don't want you to sit here and calculate my next move.
I don't even want you to be able to.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I do like the
I,
concept of you have to re-meet me, bro. After a couple years, you
yeah.
ain't sat down and talked to me, bro. You have to re-meet me, bro. Cause I promise you, I'm not on the same type of time.
Completely different.
I've
Completely
grown.
different
I've grown.
person.
Like a lot of people will see me and still remember me walking around with a Crown bottle on my wrist. I'm not that brother. I'm not, I promise you, I'm not. It's Crown in my refrigerator right now. I've been drinking on for almost a month. I'm not gonna kill a bottle in a day no more. I'm not. I'm really
Yeah.
not. I'm not even gonna sit and drink at home. Like I'm really not. Unless we going
Yeah.
somewhere, or it's some people over or something. Like what we talking about? I'm not really.
Right, right, right. But I was looking at old videos of me on Snapchat, and like every weekend I was out with a drink. Ask me where I was at every Saturday, these past weekends, in the house on the computer doing work.
Mm-hmm.
How can I move the needle forward? How can I push me forward? How can I push my business forward? You know, I know exactly what I need to do. And guess what? Now I am not I am there's no regret, there is no fear, there is no hesitation in me saying no. I can't no. No, I'm not going X, Y, and Z. I got something I gotta do. My spirit is burning now. My soul is burning. It's like, we gotta do this. Yeah, yeah, I gotta sit down. I gotta take care of this. This gotta get taken care of first.
I got to
Yeah.
the point where I stopped wanting to put myself off.
Yeah. That's real. That's real spit. Yeah.
I got tired of looking at life and the things that I was doing and realizing that the things I was doing weren't for me.
Yeah.
I spent a
Yeah.
lot of my life for other people, a lot of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And when I began to ask myself, what am I gonna do for me? I couldn't even answer it. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. No idea.
Mm,
When I got to that point, it was like, oh, I got to step back
yeah.
because I don't know. I don't even know who I am at this point. Who have I been playing?
Mm-hmm.
And then the realization was like, you do know who you are. You do know what you need to do. You've ignored it. You stepped away from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good stopping point unless you got something else to speak on. I think we have to start reminding ourselves that in order for you to know what you need to do, first of all, you need to take a step back. You need to
Yeah.
sit with self. And you need to dissociate yourself from anything that you feel like you have to do
Yes.
and see what
Yes, sir.
happens.
Yeah. I'll say this, to kind of in my talking point, my tagline is calm the chaos and reclaim your strength. And I remember this, my grandmother used to say, God is always talking to you, baby, but you gotta have the ear to listen.
I say,
And trust me. And she said, trust me, it's not with these.
nope.
It's not with these. God is going to talk to you, but he's not going to yell at you and tell you what you have to do. He's going to speak his peace. He's going to let you decide. That's the free will, right? You
Yeah,
have the free will of whether or not you're going to move on that accord. But until you can calm the chaos in your life and what's going on around you, what's going on inside your head, and take that step back, then you can really hear. You can really hear.
that's facts. We can close it with this then. The way I had a conversation with my partner the other day, I said it like this. I said a lot of people don't realize that God sent the devil down here to test us.
Hmm.
So everything that you see in this world is the devil yelling at you to betray God. And like you said, God ain't gonna yell at you. He already
Hmm.
said that I believe in them and that they will make the right choice when they need to. So in the moment that
Hmm.
matters, there's an opportunity for you to do better. Whether or not you
Yeah.
do that or not, it's like you said, it's up to your free will.
Hmm.
So you know what you need to do. Get out there
Always.
and do it.
Always.
Yep. This is Against the Narrative. I appreciate you for coming to the podcast, brother. Um, we will be posting this
Always,
on
brother.
YouTube and a couple other places. If you want to drop any of your handles, any of your tags, any business, any products that you got going on, you want people to come check out, um, go ahead and drop all that, and we'll go ahead and close it out from there.
Definitely will, brother.
All right, boss. You got anything else to say? You good?
Oh, I'm good, man. This was great.
Bet.
Looking forward to the next time.
All right, facts. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream there.